Greetings, my little kitties. Welcome to the dark room. Hope you'll adjust nicely to the new minimalist set. Forget everything related with the past, if there is even any. Let us commence our new chapter of my incomprehensible saga as I look at another entirely developed game that divided opinions. Except it's not as well known as the last one. Let's start our little road trip with Wheels of Aurelia. After last time, I'm setting my expectations really low for this. In fact, it's the only expectation I have, that it doesn't include rape in it! I gotta admit, I love the Epic Games Store. Well, love is too much of a strong word for it. I like it? Yeah, sure. It has its problems, like for most of the time since the inception, it didn't get a shopping cart, so buying multiple games was a tedious task. That got sorted out, but there's still some problems laying around. Like Epic acquiring games that are also on Steam, like Rocket League and Fall Guys, and make them EGS exclusive, which is worse than releasing the game on EGS first. Is complaining about the latter part really a hill you wanna die on? I demand you to tell me why that's a bad thing in the comments section. But what I like about the EGS is that every few weeks, or every day in the holiday season, it puts 1 or 2 games for free for a limited time. It could be some old game, some indie game, or GTA 5 that one time. So many people tried to get it, caused problems with the store. It seems like a win-win situation, except for the obvious fact that no one gets a penny for it. So now I have this backlog of shit I own but never played, like Control and Shenmue 3. I never even played the first two. But as I promised myself to do only European titles in 2023, my options are limited. Boy oh boy, if it wasn't published by Ubisoft, I would have reviewed Far Cry. I'm going indie. Nothing bad will ever go wrong going indie. So what's an indie game? A game that's made without any pressure from the publishers. Something like that. Unlike AAA games, indie games seem to have so much creativity, so much variety in the gameplay, and so much character to build. Either that or be boring. So many titles that deviate from the gaming industry norm, some that tell thought-provoking stories, others that are inspired by well-known games forgotten by its original publishers, and one that just rips off Fall Guys. But there are titles that twist genres to a whole new level. Like, hey, it's an RPG except you use little dice rolls for your attacks. Hey, it's a rally game except you're a drunk Finn trying to build a car. Hey, it's an FPS except... You get my point. Indie games since the last decade remind me a lot of the old games from 2 decades ago, the ones in the middle where its developers try to be creative with a limited budget. And you know what? I like it that way. I don't like this one. Wheels of Aurelia is a self-published 2016 game by the Italian developer Santa Ragione. They did a few games with as much mixed reviews as this one, so this is a bad look. And well, it's time for me to trash another pretentious game from Italy, if it even is pretentious like last time. Here's the main menu, simple as any indie game should be. Start a new game, and you can drive one of the 4 starting cars, a Fiat 127, a Fairlady Z, a Ford Capri, and a 2CV. Sports cars my ass! So you play as this woman in a leather jacket, sorry, I meant human woman with black hair and a leather jacket named Lela, driving at night to a disco. It kinda serves as a tutorial, showing you what the game is all about, and... later. Wow, that sure was an intro, alright. Then we start proper with Layla, driving with her friend, Olga, where you get some character talk, and later. For presentation, it looks good. I'm playing on low settings so that OBS can shut up about overloading the encoding and give me a bad file. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Apparently, what the C has shown, it uses more resources. But more egregious is during the intermission bits. Why do you need to use all of that? Unity sucks. But even with that, I really like the aesthetic of the 3D models and the 2D drawings. Reminds me of Art of Rally for the forum part. Come to think of it, it's making me want to play Art of Rally. Not much to complain about, except that it doesn't have Xbox button icons in the PC version, and it isn't cross. But overall, really cute. For sound, engine noises are alright, but they could have been better. At the very least, it's not that Miata sound from GT1. Voice acting? There's a few songs with singing in it, and a few that are based on classical music, like Bach's Goldberg! They're great and all. Funny thing, when I first played the game, I thought the credits track was the intermission song sped up by accident. But as it turns out, it's the other way around. The credits song, which is the game's theme song, is supposed to play like that, whereas the intermission screen is slowed down, including the pitch. It's really weird, much like how the instrumental version of Life Will Change for Persona 5 is pitched up compared to the original. Don't let the look of it fool you, it's not a driving game. Oh sure, you can speed up and go left and right, but if you let go of everything, the game does the driving for you. Going left and right is redundant when the car handles a corner automatically, unless you're in a rare race. And the crash physics are laughable. Look, you can even freeze through other cars at times. The year's smartest driving sim, as in it looks pretty as you Brits say. It does look stylish, but it's hardly a sim. It's hardly a simcade. It is hardly even an arcade racer. It's a visual novel. Now, I don't mind visual novels much, it's just that I don't play much of them, but I'll still cherish them at times. My first one was Date Ariane, a porno dating sim. My first proper one is Katawa Shoujo, which is a wholesome if raunchy novel where our protagonist, Hisao Nakai, is transferred to a special school for the physically disabled after he was diagnosed with a heart disease. There you get to go with one of the 5 girls you can go with and try your best to impress them. That or gain a manly picnic and die there. It's an option. And would you believe it when I say that this was started by a bunch of 4chaners? Yeah, it's crazy. 4chan isn't always a fascist cesspit. Could be worse. Although a few points get deducted for calling the game Cripple Girls in Japanese, but overall, a very nice novel to delve into. Yes, it has sex scenes, never mind the fact that they're high schoolers. Yeah, I'm going with Acura instead. Alright, enough praising a good visual novel. This is not a good visual novel. As you drive, a passenger will ask you or compliment you about something, and you get to choose 3 options, one of them being... And you can't just pick one right away. You have to pick what you want to say, and then have to wait for the time to run out so that Layla can say the line you chose. And if you don't want her to say anything, it takes a really long time to be chosen. This would be fine if the game was always relaxing, but there are sections in it that you have to hit the gas so fast if you want a specific ending, like the one in Bracciano where you get to race with some sleazeball named Valerio. Now I have to not only focus on what dialogue choice I pick, but also go full steam ahead and avoiding traffic on the way. It's not too frustrating, but still annoying. Plus, your car has its own hidden speed stats, so racing against him with a Fiat 127 was proven to be a bad idea. At least give me the choice to not challenge him. Do you know what we do to nice commies like you? No, but I know what we do to fascist pigs like you. I shouldn't be hard on them, but making a visual novel shouldn't be that hard, aside from writing the plot. You'll meet some interesting characters like Seth Sleazeball, a former F1 driver turned bank robber who likes to call you sweetie. You can call me sweetie anytime. This priest who later gets to be an asshole towards, a hippie that lends you the Samba bus, and a farmer that lends you his ape. The Piaggio trike, I mean. You'll meet them by either going to the intermission screen or picking up hitchhikers. Plus, you get to drive different cars depending on the outcome of the routes, and they're unlocked after being one of its endings. But I can't talk about a visual novel without talking about its plot. So what's the story? Well, Layla was a young, long-haired blonde girl who was kidnapped by someone who calls himself the Gecko. Now, Layla is an older, short dark-haired woman who is finding herself by going to Rio Reggio and hopefully find the kidnapper. Wait, so this is an Italian game from 2016 about an Italian woman with a traumatic backstory set in Italy sometime in the past, and they both run a Unity engine? I have 2 nickels now! Ugh. So yeah, that's basically your mission. You thought we were going to France, Olga? That'll wait. Speaking of, Olga may seem like a naive girl, but she's raised by communists. The Soviet Union was kind of shit if you ask me. Also, she's pregnant and thinking about having an abortion. Man, I'm in the mood for a baby. Though at one point, Olga might start getting tired of Layla's shtick, either that or she goes to the bathroom, so you get to decide if you want to ditch her or make her stay in the car. It's important for later. I get to be an asshole here! I'm Angelo, but you might know me as Gorilla. Gorilla? The former racing champion? No, it's Gorilla Monsoon. But yeah, Outrun. You know, that 1986 arcade game by AM2, spearheaded by Yu Suzuki, where you drive a Testarossa with your girlfriend or whatever. Well, Wheels of Aurelia takes inspiration from that game. You even drive alongside a female passenger. And like that game, there are branching paths. But as I said, the crash physics are almost non-existent. You can't even do a massive crash like in that game. And since you're supposed to go to Via Reggio, the way to get there is like this. You start from Rome, then there's a split path, take one, reach the middle of the level, another split path, take one, and it merges into one. Man, the comparisons to the Town of Light just keeps on coming, huh? At least it doesn't end with a lobotomy, or at least the endings I got. But yeah, from Rome to Via Reggio, you visit a total of 4 places. I get it, you're in Via Aurelia and all, and it's an indie game, so I can't complain much. No, fuck that, I've complained a lot about this game so far. There's no turning back, I gotta talk about Layla here. I kind of don't like her. Sure, I should sympathize with her since she was kidnapped, but I don't like how arrogant she can be. I get it, not every prototype can be an angel. Look at me, I did some questionable stuff in my time. But if you're gonna have a game with dialogue choices, everyone's favorite, you could at least have nice responses for some more. You only have 2 dialogue choices per question from the passenger, 3 if you count complete silence and ignorance, and some of the questions don't offer great responses, at least to me. Like when Olga talks about how Layla looks like the punks on TV, and Layla's response are either TV should be abolished or real punks are from London, otherwise this is bunkling greasers. God, I hate to be with her! Too bad I'm playing as her and have to act like her. Like I said, she can't always be arrogant. You can give her a few nice responses or be silent, which I would argue is worse. Look, I almost made Layla into an anti-abortionist. Olga is like, I don't want to be a single mom. And Layla's like, this famous singer is a single mother. Not helping. Oh, but she's a feminist and a motorsports fan and wishes to be a race driver. Shouldn't that be relatable for you? Yeah, but I don't want to be associated with her. Also not helping us out, the game is set 1978, when second wave feminism was still under people's radars. It did some good, but it was often criticized for being whitewashed, how it ignores the contributions of anyone outside of being a rich white straight woman. And seeing the cast of characters in the game, yeah, even I think it's too white. Could be worse, could have been set in the late 90s, and if it did, Layla would grow up to be a TERF. There is some good in this game, however. I already mentioned the art direction and the soundtrack, but there can be moments that are hilarious to me. For instance, you get to chase an orange guy with supposed terrorists in it, in a Piaggio ape, and it turns out it's the guy I lost to in the race, but it's undermined by the madness of it all. There are multiple endings, 16 to collect, depending on what path you took, what hitchhikers you picked, whether Olga stays with Layla or not, whether you lose his race or not, and what have you. I'm not gonna spoil the entire game, all I can say is that there are endings where Layla finds her kidnapper and fucks him up, then starts a cafe business afterwards, or lives with Olga and works at some car company years later. Not to mention, it's fucking short. This game costs real money, and even with the branchy paths, it takes around 15 minutes to finish one. Outrun is just as short, but at least you're under a timer, the handling is challenging, and traffic can break you apart. What's this game's excuse? A plot? It's grounded, but it doesn't sound as important as the blows in its Steam page say. Rather be the book though. At least there is an animation of rape in it. There's some extras like visual filters and an encyclopedia of things the game mentions, no matter how little. Though it's very underwhelming when the descriptions are excerpts copy-paste from Wikipedia. What are you, me in high school one time? That isn't to say that Wikipedia is an unreliable source, it's just that it's a tertiary source, and you should always check the primary and secondary sources, which the articles happily tell you. This is just lazy. It's lazy than training a ChatGPT bot. Look at me trying to be relevant. So that was Wheels of Aurelia. For 15 bucks, no. For 10 bucks, still no. Someone might accuse me of being a cheapskate, but that doesn't work on me because I'm actually poor in real life. It has an alright premise mixed with a boring driving game, and I don't have the balls to recommend it. Even if you complete it, it's still shorter than Katawa Shoujo, which, by the way, is free. And even if you don't mind total playtime, there are better games that are shorter, Portal for instance. They may not offer much replay value, but they're still entertaining nonetheless. And how ironic that the only good visual novel out of the two that Santa Ragione has is something they only published. The game had a few nominations somehow, but that doesn't mean shit. Suicide Squad won a technical Oscar and it still sucked. On in all, get Absolute Drift instead, or Slipstream for that Outrun itch. Next time...